Let's talk about parts of speech, and I thought we could introduce all the 8 parts of speech just by having a look at a couple of sample sentences here. So we have 2 sentences kind of joined together, and we'll start here by looking at the nouns. So the nouns are the first part of speech, and a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So you can see here that we have 3 nouns. We have cat, and we have pizza, and we have pop. The second part of speech, and we're doing this very quickly here, is the verb. So a verb is commonly an action word, but we can have other verbs as well. So we can have linking verbs and helping verbs and so on. We have 2 verbs here. We have said and we have love. Okay? And if we have a main verb in a sentence, then we also need a subject doing the verb. So we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but you can see that cat is a subject, the cat said, and we have I is a subject as well. Okay, so we'll just undo this here for a moment. Okay, but you can sort of see what's coming up in this regard. All right, the third part of speech that we can talk about is the pronoun. So 3 is the pronoun. And a pronoun stands in the place of a noun. So if you were to look at I really love cold pizza and pop. I refers back to a noun here. Okay, so cat is the noun, and I stands in the place of cat. It replaces it. Me is also a pronoun, and in this case, the word that replaces me is not in the sentence. So that can happen too. And this would be a reference to my name, let's say, which in this case is Conrad. There you go, now you know my name. And Conrad would be the noun, it's a proper noun, and me is the pronoun that replaces it. Okay, to introduce this pronoun, we've used a preposition. So a preposition. And a preposition relates a noun or pronoun to the rest of the sentence. So the preposition is to, and it relates me, the object of the preposition, to the rest of the sentence. And that's why we often call preposition a structure word. Another part of speech that we can use is an adjective. So 5 is an adjective. And an adjective is a word that modifies another word. So we call this a modifier. And what adjectives modify is nouns. So in this case we have cold, and the word cold modifies pizza. Now you can also see that there's this other little word at the beginning here, the, which also seems to modify a noun. So cat is the noun, and we say the cat. But the word the is a little bit tricky. So this is referred to as an article. There are just a few of these. We have a, un, and the. And these articles are usually classified as adjectives, so we'll just include them in this category. Another term for them that you'll sometimes see is a determiner, and a determiner is a larger category. Determiner. Not going to talk about that too much at this point, but a determiner is sometimes classified as a different part of speech, as a 9th part of speech. So just be aware of that. We will just stick to our 8 parts of speech, but you may come across this term at some point. Now our 6th part of speech is the adverb. And an adverb is a tricky word. It's also a modifier. But this modifier doesn't just modify one thing, it modifies lots of different things. Often it modifies the verb, and you can see that here with really. So really is our adverb, and it's telling you something about the loving. How much do I love? I really love, right? So it's changing the meaning of love. But adverbs can do much more than just modify verbs. They can modify verbals and other adjectives and other adverbs and so on. So there's a long list of things that adverbs can modify. In the 7th place then, we have a conjunction. And a conjunction is simply a word that ties parts of the sentence together. So it can tie together single words or phrases or clauses. And we have one conjunction here, and. And the word and is called a coordinating conjunction. We'll get to that at some future point. But it's tying together these two nouns, right? So pizza and pop, they're being tied together with our conjunction. And then our last part of speech is the interjection. So an interjection is a strong sense of emotion that's being expressed. And we have one example here, yum. So yum can't really easily be classified as a different part of speech. So an interjection is a word that typically stands by itself. And these are words like ouch and sorry and no, if you kind of shout it out, and please, and so on. So lots of interjections. They're not usually used in formal or academic writing, but it's good to be aware of this part of speech. Those are the 8 parts of speech. Again, sometimes people also mention the determiner, and another one that we'll talk about is the conjunctive adverb. So conjunctive adverb, not really a separate part of speech, but it's a bit of a hybrid construction, and so we'll have a separate section on that as well. Hopefully seeing the big picture here helps, and I look forward to talking about the specific parts of speech in more detail with you.